Well, this is one of the planes that I picked up at Indiana Warbird campaign that I was not planning on getting, and I didn't even know it was going to be there. But it was actually delivered to a friend of mine by uh, somebody else who had picked it up at the Byron reunion in Ankeny a couple weeks ago. And the guy that was originally going to purchase it decided he didn't want it, and I saw it sitting next to his trailer and asked about it, and he made me one heck of a deal that I couldn't turn up. Especially since, as you all know, I have a strange obsession with anything to do with Byron. So to have a Glassair, that's pretty cool. It's not exactly my plane of choice. It's not something that I would go out of my way to really want or build. But to get one ready to fly for the price that I got, can't complain. As you can see, it's all traditional Byron construction. The wings, you can see down here, the straps for the wings slide in through the fuselage into these brackets that just have set screws on the bottom. You can actually see the set screw down there. See my finger down there? You see the wings back there in the corner. Everything's in pretty good shape. I don't know if this has ever been flown. It looks like maybe it has at one point, but it was redone. And it's got some wear and tear. Kind of some boogers from epoxy for the hinges and stuff. But other than that, it's not bad. The only real downside is the engine. For those of you that remember the CCRC 45. It's kind of one of the pioneers for inexpensive alternatives for a large gas engine on electronic ignition. And this thing was a cobbled up mess. Holy mackerel. I did get it running yesterday, and it actually runs pretty good. I think I'm going to richen it up a little bit more before the test flight, which may be tomorrow. Never know. We'll see how the weather holds. But yeah, that engine is pretty sketchy. But as long as it maintains being reliable, I'm okay with it, I guess. And one of the other airplanes I picked up is an old Great Plains Giant Arrowmaster. This is the ARF. It's never been flown. It's been put together and not extraordinarily well. And it's been hanging up in a hobby shop down in Kentucky for years. And it's got a lot of holes in it. Whoever hinged the elevator didn't know what they were doing. And it's got about, 20 years of dust on it. But it's all covered in monocoat, so when I get around to doing this project, I'll clean it all up, peel off all the graphics that are on it, and patch what I can. I'm sure I can make it look okay. Got the wings here. Just a lot of holes, pretty brittle covering, so but that's alright, I can make that work. The other plane that I got is out in the trailer, and it's raining right now, so I'm not going to go out there. But what it is it's an easy model, which is, similar to my AT6 hanging up here. And it's the easy airplanes are all plywood construction, but the covering skin is a foam with a printed plastic over top of the foam. So it's a very unique construction. I'm sure a lot of you guys that have been in the hobby for a long time have seen them. They're awesome airplanes. They're really interesting. As you can see, I have a few of the easy airplanes and those types of planes in my collection. But it's an easy Super Chipmunk, the 25 size. And got it for $40. Can't complain. I mean, I'm never going to fly it, because if I fly it and break it, it's a done deal. So I'll put it together. Since it's already been started, the wing's been joined, obviously it's not in the box condition. So I'll put it together and then hang it up afterwards. But, oh yeah. It looks pretty, the Glassair looks pretty sharp. I'm relatively pleased. Of course, it's all, like I said, stock Byron, so the solid foam wings, just with a couple hardwood spars on each side, and they're glassed and painted. So if you if you squeeze those wings pretty good, you're going to dent them. And there's quite a few dents in them, unfortunately. So you got to kind of be careful with it. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. Hopefully it'll be a good flyer. I mean, it came with a Spectrum receiver, and everything in there's all Spectrum. And as all of you know, I do not use Spectrum at all. But the servos seem to be pretty good. I'm rather impressed with how strong they are, so I'm pretty impressed with that. The receiver pack is one of the Spectrum Life batteries. I don't know much about them, so we'll see how that goes. And it's got a NiCad pack kind of dangling up there in the front. And what's really unique about this is you'll notice the throttle push rod, or the throttle servo, and the tank, and the ignition battery are all mounted to the very front. I don't know if you can see it, but when I put my hand in here, there's nothing really underneath this tank. It's actually mounted to a support that comes out of that firewall. And when you take the cowling off, the whole firewall unbolts from the airplane. So you can take the cowling off, take a bunch of bolts off that actually hold the firewall to the fiberglass fuselage. That whole thing comes off. So you don't have to try to figure out how to put your tank in there and your battery and your throttle servo, because it's pretty tight quarters in there. But when you can pull that firewall off, you mount everything where you want it, and you slide it back in. So that's kind of cool. Very, very unique construction from Byron Originals. And of course, this has the plug-in control surfaces for the wings. You can see the ailerons here and the flaps here go right to these tubes. And when you look inside here, you can see a square cutout, or a square socket. Those sockets are on the bottoms of the wing here. So when you plug the wings in, everything plugs in. You don't have to make any connections for your ailerons and your flaps. It just slides together, like a male-female fitting type deal. So really cool, really interesting construction that you just don't see anymore. And as long as it's done right, it's a solid setup. It's really easy to get sloppy on it. But this one seemed to be done right. And I'm hoping for the maiden flight tomorrow. We'll see. No promises. But if it does fly tomorrow, I'll get some video. Later.